I would be okay with the idea of coming out if it meant that everyone was expected to come out. But that's not how it works in practice. I've never seen a heterosexual person have to tell their coming out story. My name is David Johns. I'm the Executive Director of the National Black Justice Coalition, and this is a word about inviting in. Inviting in is a way to complicate what is normally thought about as coming out. For many, coming out is the process by which people sit down their families, have an awkward conversation about them being LGBTQIA+, and then they're celebrated for it. Often for white people who come out, this also then involves them moving to a neighborhood, a place like Chelsea, New York, or Hollywood, California, or Boys Town, Chicago, where they then get to join communities and sports teams and show up in gay community centers where they draw power from that part of their identity. For those of us who are Black and LGBTQIA+, the idea of coming out is sometimes simply not an option. Most Black LGBTQIA+ people live with other Black people. We are disproportionately concentrated in the South. We live in the states where it is legal to discriminate against us based on actual or perceived sexual identity, gender orientation, or gender expression. We use the term inviting in to highlight the importance of people doing the work to show up as both allies and accomplices, adopting the language that we need to be able to talk about people in asset-based, stigma-free, positive ways, to otherwise engage in conversations about things that are important to people. And so for us, the idea of inviting in people means that once you do the work required to demonstrate that you are competent and compassionate, I can share with you, or we can share with you, parts of who we are, including who we love, or other things that you might need to know about our identities. An example of inviting in is my brother Lil Nas X. Many people felt that it was important to talk about Lil Nas X having come out, as if there was this singular moment in time in which he had this unique realization about his sexual identity and then decided to stand atop a mountain and decry it to the world for everyone to know. And what I appreciate most is that Lil Nas X says, actually, that's not true. He made clear for anybody that had questions who he is and how he shows up in the world as a Black man who happens to be same-gender loving. Words matter, right? Inviting in as a construct is important because it highlights the importance of a bilateral relationship and the need for two people to be engaged in this process of having conversations and making space for each other. I don't owe you an explanation of who I love. However, if you do the work required to learn some language, to leverage our friend Google, and to again think about diverse experiences, then we might be able to engage in this conversation where I will invite you in. And the hope is that if I invite you in, you will invite me in as well, and we can have conversations about things that are important to you, but might otherwise be difficult for you to think about discussing. I have two hopes, dreams, goals with shifting from coming out to inviting in. And one is that we get to a point in time in which it's not necessary for anyone to have to explain or announce or defend their sexual identity, gender orientation, or expression. And more than anything, I hold this dream for our babies. Right now, high school kids are identifying more often as anything other than strictly heterosexual. And to be clear, there is no gay agenda. If there is and you've seen it, send it to me. But it is, I think, their way of saying to us that the boxes, the narrowly constructed categories that have existed for far too long, boy, girl, Black, white, things that don't allow for these intersections to exist don't work for them. And so my hope is that we listen to the fact that our babies are screaming for us to do differently, to celebrate humanity, to otherwise find ways to strengthen cohesion so that we can be better communities and a better country. I believe that inviting in will hopefully be a tool to help us get there.